Good evening, everybody. How's it going? It's me, Comic Crack. It's been a couple of weeks, so I thought I would jump on impromptu and we can chat about a couple of things. If you were around this afternoon, or if you want to hear Rasa and I talk about things, go to her channel and we had a chat. I don't know, a couple hours or whatever. A few people in the chat, some good back and forth. Lots of good discussion, and shout out to Damien for, I guess, nominating us for some sort of comic book community award. Thank you very much, Damien. We fully expect accolades and prizes and cash money. So go and check that out this afternoon, and let's just start talking about stuff. We'll just jump right into comics. There's too much other things to talk about, so we'll avoid all of that, and we'll just go to this. I'm just realizing, do I have this? Sorry, let me check. Maybe I made an error. Settings. Let me see settings. Yes. Okay. I think everything is good. So read a few things this week. Maybe we'll start with a couple of things that I picked up recently. Found a couple of $2 books that are going into the Rasa pile. Incredible finds from 204 Comics. First being Richard Corbin's Tales from the Plague. Beautiful kind of magazine size. I've got a copy of this myself already. We've talked about it here before. I think this also got reprinted in another format too. Yeah, witchcraft and women, basically. So yeah, pretty great early Corbin work there. And then the one that kind of blew me away that I saw in the bin was Mobius Book 4, the Long Tomorrow, which from my memory is all short stories that I don't know where they appeared. I imagine they appeared in Heavy Metal magazine. I'm not 100% sure. There's a little write-up throughout the book. There's little write-ups on some of the various pieces where the inspiration came from. I'm assuming it also talked about maybe where the stories were printed. I don't know if this is Metal Hurlant stuff or if it's Heavy Metal stuff. So incredible find for $2. I mean, anybody who has chased after these know that that's an absolute steal. It is a bit rough. There's some bends and creases and some dirt and some ripples, and it's got a little bit of a texture on it, let's say. But shit, man. $2, who cares? This afternoon, this is something that I got a few weeks ago, actually, that I've never really talked about. I found a collection of Valerian stuff. I don't think any of these stories in this book are ones that I have already, so that's a real nice bonus to get some Valerian that I've never read before. I haven't read a ton of this stuff. I've got, I don't know, I think 5 or 6 volumes of it, or 5 or 6 albums of it, I guess. So I'm really looking forward to this because they're fun comics. If you've read any of it, looks beautiful. A nice, a bit of a smaller size than kind of the kind of European album, but nice and chunky. From, who's this from? iBooks Graphic Novels. So comicworks.com, WERKS. I don't know if I've ever heard of that company. And it is 2004 is when this came out. So I'm not sure when the Valerian movie came out, but I would be surprised if it wasn't around 2004, 2003. And then one that kind of really blew me away, Silver Surfer hardcover collection from Mobius and Stanley. Again, trashed and beaten to hell. This dust jacket is just disgusting. And thankfully, when you take the dust jacket off, you're presented with this glorious image embossed onto the cover itself. So I don't know. I'm kind of partial to maybe throwing away that slipcase. This also has some extras in the back as well, too. Quite a few extras, actually, just talking about the coloring, talking about how the project came to be. I've got this in a couple of different formats. I think there was a reprint of it as well, too. So I've got the original ones. And I've got the reprint, and now I've got this hardcover, which was, like I said, I think it was about $5 or something like that. So, and if you know this book, you know it's stunning Mobius work, dealing with the Silver Surfer. So Parable is what it's called. So that was a real nice find as well, too. So shout out to Ash at 204 Comics. He always has some good cheap bins available. There's always some gold in them. There we go. So today, we'll maybe start with this. Where did I put those books? Behind me? Yes, I did. Okay, so this afternoon, I went to Red River Bookshop. So Red River Bookshop, every weekend, they put out a Facebook post where they show off some of the new books that have come into the shop. Surprised to find the company, the mark of quality, Tundra. One of the sketchbook series, book number 9 from Michael Dooney. I think I only need 2 more of these books now, and I think there was 12 of them. So this is 1991. This is a great one because of the kind of Turtles material that's in it. So creator of Gizmo. He also did some toy design drawings for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you get a bunch of samples in here, as well as some cover artwork for the Ninja Turtles and some convention drawings and sketches and things here. But I'll show you the toy design stuff. Oh, there's a layout as well, too, a sample of layout for a Turtles comic that he was working on there. So issue number from TMNT number 27. So he shows kind of his process of his toy design. And especially on this page, you get a really good sense of it. The figure in a very distinct pose, just kind of overlaid with different gadgets and costumes and weaponry and accessories and stuff. And he did a whole bunch of designs for a whole bunch of characters. I don't know how many of his designs made it to that first Ninja Turtles run or not, but I'm sure someone has that information. And then some Ninja Turtles paintings for various magazines. Process for creating a cover, issue number 28. So really, really great. And the back matter is kind of more sketches and realistic portraits and things. And of course, ladies. So really, really sweet find there. And the other reason I went down there was to pick up Charles Burns of The Hive, which is book 2 in his it's X'd Out trilogy, I guess. So Dan Elson had sent this along with a care package. I actually just read this week and then looked on Friday, and lo and behold, book 2 was at Red River. So I've started in on this one. I haven't read this whole book yet, but so we'll kind of start there, I suppose. So this is I think X'd Out was 2011. Hello. Yes. Was their last show last night, Maudit Part? Was it last night or was it tonight? Another one of their final performances. I saw them in Toronto. Geez, I want to say like maybe 2000, 2001, 2002. It must have been, I'm guessing it was like 2000, more than likely. I don't think it was after 9/11. I think it was before. Anyway, I saw them, and it was Deftones and Pantera opening up for them. An incredible show. I was amazed at, I was a big Deftones fan when that first album came out. Their performance live was pretty incredible. I was amazed at Pantera's ability to kind of get to the audience into an absolute frenzy. And then, of course, Sabbath came on, and it was just fucking mind-blowing to hear that music live. So I'm sure there'll be clips of that floating around out there. I think this was 2000. 2010 was X'd out. And from what I understand, the little bit that I understand, and kind of even just from reading this one, X'd out is sort of the main character's name is Nit Nit, I think. So it's his kind of Tintin-ish homage, but there's a lot of blending all weekend. Yes, another goodbye. More money for Sharon. Yeah, right. So I think this is kind of like his homage to Tintin to some degree, but he does kind of this blending of multiple layers of reality to such a degree that even in the second book, we've got one of the characters reading a comic and talking about the story and figuring out what's going to happen to the character and needing to find the last issue so she could finish the story. There's about 4 versions of our main character. One of them is sort of a performance artist of sorts who wears a mask that looks like our Nit Nit character. So it's trying to maybe not necessarily figure out which layer is the real layer or whatever, but it's a pretty solid read. I never thought of that actually, Modi. Those Burns albums rock. Tintin meets William S. Burroughs. Yeah, I mean that makes sense for sure. There's some Burroughs in there, absolutely. Filled, of course, with his gorgeous art. Our kind of character is kind of what we're reading mirrors his experience within this story, that he wakes up, he's losing memory, he's on pills of all kinds that is causing him to kind of disassociate. So we kind of go through this disassociation process with him as we're following through these books. So that's X'd out, book number 1. And then, like I said, just started reading this one, maybe 8 pages into it. The Hive is book 2. I'm not sure what the third book is called. Modit, if you know it's there, type it in the chat. This one was from a few years later, 2013, 2012. And these are from Pantheon Books. And they're just stunners, man. I mean, I've heard of these obviously for quite a long time. I've seen them around here and there, but I've never jumped on them. Yeah, nothing like opportunity presenting itself and getting one as a gift that kind of helps kickstart you into it. So now I've got to find the third part and finish this sucker off. So looks like a great book, as always, from Mr. Burns there. So there you go. There's The Hive. Another 204 Comics find was book 1 from Serenity, Those Left Behind. I've got a few of these issues of this first miniseries. I think it's one of the first miniseries, if not the first miniseries. It's written by Joss Whedon. I love Serenity. I love the Firefly crew. So again, a no-brainer. These books just oftentimes look a lot better, pardon me, with the dust jackets off than they do on, you know. There's a introduction by Nathan Fillion here off the start, talking about his love of comics and his experience with comics growing up and kind of what it feels like to now be a character in a comic book and how much he loves that. It's good stuff. There's not much that I can tell you about this. You're a fan or you're not. And as a fan, I really enjoy these books, especially these ones that are written by Joss. You do get a bit of a sense that this is a little more of a continuation of the show as opposed to someone kind of reliving best moments from the show and putting those moments into different stories, trying to capture something that they don't quite understand, which is something Ross and I were talking about today with Tony Gilroy for Andor, not being a Star Wars fan, but how that's not actually any sort of hindrance because he understands the core of what makes those original Star Wars movies so good, that hopeful kind of feeling that you get from those stories. So he's able to kind of capture something that is inherent to the story as opposed to just leaning all the way in on lore and history and which characters are we going to run into and how are these stories going to cross over. That's obviously a part of it, but it's more about the core of it. At the back of this, we get a brief history of the universe circa 2516 by Joss Whedon. So this was part of his pitch package for the TV show Firefly. So designs, costume designs, there's ship designs as well. Joshua Middleton is the artist on, I think, all of these sketches and stuff that came with his pitch package. Another cool thing, obviously, seeing some of the vehicles and ship designs and things. There's a design for the Serenity as well, too, at the back here, I believe. The Reaver ship, there's a good shot of the Reaver's ship, the design of that. And then, yeah, here we go, the Serenity down there. So really, really great stuff. The Hive Sugar Skull. Oh, there's 4. Okay. I didn't realize that. I thought there was 3. So X'd out the Hive, Sugar Skull, and Last Look. Okay. Cool. So that is that one. What do I have here? Out of Alcatraz. We'll jump into that one, I guess, there. So one more book in Out of Alcatraz, which is the Christopher Cantwell and Tyler Crook. I think it's a 5-issue miniseries. I think at the end of issue number 4, it does say to be concluded in. This has been an absolute blast. For some reason, I've managed to miss issue number 2, and I'm not quite sure what happened. I've been to a few shops over the weeks to kind of see if I can find a copy. There's actually still a shop I haven't gone to, with no luck. So I don't know what happened exactly. It's pretty rare for a new book where I can't find it anywhere. I can usually find, especially something like this. This isn't a Marvel or DC mainstream book. It's an issue number 2 as well. So it's not even issue number 1. So it's unusual not to be able to find it. So in issue number 4, this page was kind of a page stopper for me. I love his portraits, I guess, or I love his characters. They feel real. They feel kind of they feel flesh and blood. But his watercolor painting is really gorgeous stuff. And I think the more that I see from him, and the more that he has experience doing these comics, it's like his skill just gets stronger and stronger. I mean, look at this face, look at the cheeks, color on the cheeks. It's amazing stuff. So this is a really great book. It's the idea of the escaped convicts from Alcatraz Island. And if they did escape, let's follow the story of them, and then some of the agents that are chasing after them. And then you also get shit like this that looks like there's some pencil crayon or something in there. Beautifully violent stuff there. So really, really nice. Yeah, so strong book for sure, Out of Alcatraz. If you're curious about it, I'd say wait a little longer. Once that final issue is out, there will be a trade coming sooner than later, I imagine. Yeah, bugs me. No issue 2. It hasn't stopped me from reading the story, obviously, but I would like to get my hands on that at some point. What else you got? We got Martian Manhunter. An Ian Bertram cover for issue number 3. So the beauty of not going to the shop every single week, missing weeks, issues coming out where to me they're kind of back to back. So I had issue number 3 and number 4 that I read within like a day or 2 of each other. So that was nice to kind of really get into the story. One of the things that stood out to me this time, especially with issue number 4, was I was kind of looking for some pages. My brother's in town from China, and I was looking for some pages to kind of show him that were like real standouts. In some of the early issues, there were some pages you would go to where there was just these standout graphically designed pages. There's some nice stuff in here, but not as kind of bold as the early issues. And when I was reading it, the kind of magic happened in his panel to panel transitions and the way he moves through a story. It really becomes, I mean, dreamlike is such a shitty way to describe things. That's because that's not exactly what I mean, but there is this kind of I don't know, smoothness, I guess. There's this real sort of, I don't know, there's this ease of transitioning from scene to scene, from location to location, that is just expertly done, matching kind of the words and the panels and the art and stuff. And just some moments where, that's not that whole page doesn't, I mean, it all stands out to me because it's all gorgeous, but there's just these moments that are just really nice. The use of color in this is done incredibly well. And I think the idea also of the Martian Manhunter not necessarily taking over this human and becoming a human, it's really more of, I don't know, it's not even like a Spectre and Corrigan type of relationship, because there is really a separation of those two. But I'd say it's a little more along those lines where they sort of co-inhabit, and Martian Manhunter is always kind of there and changing his ability to see, changing his ability to kind of interact with people around him. So this one, he's having some marital issues with his wife. He's really dedicated to his job because this white Martian is kind of causing havoc and people are going a bit crazy. And even a moment like this, I wish Gore Vidal was here. That's a very Crepax Valentina type of pose. I feel like there's something about even the character design of her and the way she's standing there that really would fit in with a Valentina story, I think. I love this book. This is going to be one of the strong reads for the year for sure, just like Zatanna was last year. This is just really fun stuff, and this is the kind of superhero stuff I can get into. There's a little more going for it. It's a little out there. It's kind of adventurous with its design and coloring and just art that really just draws me in a big way. Even like moments like this, it's just that's just a beautifully designed image. It's really, really nice. Maybe I'll take a screenshot of that and we'll have that as it's the avatar for tonight's stream there. So I'll leave that one aside. So Martian Manhunter, again, on the kind of design and poppy element. This one has been sitting by me for a while before I read it. I've had this for a few weeks now. This is Robo Wolf #1. If you've kind of tuned in, you'll know Jake Smith's name from a Godzilla series that I was reading, War for Humanity. Is that what it was called? And the standout, his art was the standout in that story was okay, but man, oh man, his art in this is just overwhelming. Last Look, a true graphic milestone. The epic trilogy that began with X'd Out, continued in The Hive, and concluded in Sugar Skull, now in one volume. Okay, perfect. So that's good to know. Thank you for that. So Last Look collects all 3 of the books. So it is just 3 volumes. Last Look collects everything. Okay, I'll have to keep an eye out for that one as well. But Sugar Skull, I'll see if I can find that. The story itself in this is whatever. It's kind of, 80s action movie type of thing. This crazy band of pseudo villains led by Robo Wolf in his glory here. They pull a heist. We find out that they're pulling this heist because they've got to make some money so Robo Wolf can get his daughter back, who was kidnapped. Each of our kind of heroes, I guess, they each have, there's a page here where we kind of focus on each of our main characters and we see their sort of a nemesis watching the screen and plotting to destroy them. So, but it's nonstop. In person, on screen, it's intense enough, but in person, it's even more intense. It jumps off the page, and it really just, it's bonkers. It's really, really bonkers. So a fun looking book. I'll probably stick around for that one. I don't know how many issues it's going. This is Dark Horse. So we'll see how long that goes, but a solid little book there. Copra number 50. I felt kind of obligated to get Copra number 50. It seemed like it would be silly not to. I did read The Death of Copra, and I really loved it. Like as far as kind of specifically the art went, every single page was an absolute treat. This one, it didn't really make any sense to me whatsoever. It didn't feel like an ending, but I mean, I haven't read the first 49 issues, so what the hell do I know? Um, it was just okay. It didn't do as much for me as I thought it would. I don't know what I was expecting because, of course, I don't have any familiarity with this universe. So, of course, it's not going to have an effect on me like it would someone else who's been kind of following it. It just felt like one of those that because it's this 50th issue, I really should just do the right thing and just pick up a copy to have in the collection with the meager amount of Copra books that I do own. Someday, I mean, it's one of those books that I always feel like someday I would like to go back and kind of pick up more of the single issues and try to really attack it and read it. I had the first graphic novel and I tried to get into it and I just really couldn't. That sort of world doesn't interest me as much. It's sort of the Suicide Squad-ish type of thing. But I mean, one of the main characters is clearly Shade the Changing Man. There's, Orion. So that's this real homage to the DC universe and stuff. And that just doesn't interest me that much as a topic or something that I have any personal relationship with, where I feel like I want to read someone else's version of if they could do a DC book. That said, though, his art is really, really exceptional. And that's the main focus for me when I go through these books. His use of kind of minimal work in panels and things is gorgeous. So Ross and I were talking about this afternoon, and probably one of the thinnest comics I've ever read in my life is Kaya. It feels almost like every single issue gets thinner, and I don't know how that's possible. The pages are see-through. You can see the image bleeding from the other side if you hold it up even to the most minimal light. This was a really fun issue, though, and it really feels like Kaya is kind of back on an upward climb here with the kind of just fun story. We were talking, though, this afternoon, our kind of main devil god kind of character, our trickster character. It's going to get played out pretty damn quick because I'm already getting a little bit fed up with this. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? What's his ulterior motives? Like, I understand wanting to play that out. It feels like it's been played out enough where I feel like it's time that we get a little bit more about him and a little bit more about maybe what he's actually up to, if he's up to anything at all, if he's actually trying to be helpful. We did have the visit from Kaya's older self, kind of revisiting her in a vision to tell her to kind of be careful and be aware of this guy. So there's some games being played here. Jin has control of his transforming and shape-shifting powers. We see him use it without much thought. He goes to these kind of prisoners, these slaves, I guess, and talks about he's going to free them. He'll come back for you tomorrow night. We got a plan. We'll come and fill you in. Yeah, just pretty solid stuff. Like I said, though, I do want kind of the next issue to start kind of picking up with some of that information. I do feel like we need to get fed a little bit something more because a lot of it has just been this kind of traveling and things, which is fine. Like I said, I'm still digging it, but give us a tiny bit more at this point. But a very thin book for, what is it, $3.99? Yeah, $3.99. Very, very quick read. Seasons. This is issue number issue number 5 is what we're at right now. This is probably, I'm not really enjoying this series that much, to be honest. But that said, I think number 5 was my favorite issue so far. I feel like it started to kind of solidify as a story where I felt like I had a better understanding of the world. I said it before, I'm just not a fan of the carnival kind of element. I guess I sort of understand why it's there, I suppose. I don't know. I just, there's something very hokey about it to me. And again, I do realize that I'm reading a comic book after all, so I get all that. So there's going to be some hokiness to it in general. But I felt like there was a little more for me to latch on with this one, and I felt like I related to her a little bit as a character. You know what I mean? Like that. There's always these moments with good books, like when it's stuff like this, when it's something focusing on storytelling. There are these moments where you either start identifying with a character, or you realize that you don't identify with anybody, and you kind of stop buying the book, or you find another vein that's interesting within the book to kind of latch onto, or whatever it happens to be. So I felt like for this, as far as like a story goes and storytelling goes, I felt like I identified with her a little bit in this one. So that helped kind of draw me into the rest of the story. But that said, though, I don't think this is a book that I can really recommend to people for Rick Remender or just kind of modern comics. You know, I don't know what I would recommend, but I don't think this one would even kind of make the list, other than just sort of saying it in passing. And, you know, like I don't know why. There's just something about that just I am not interested in the carnival and these circus performers and things. And yeah, treated as kind of like, I don't know, are they supposed to be scary? Are they supposed to be like in Kaya, sort of jesters, sort of playing games with people to have them make realizations about themselves and to mock them and those kind of things? And at the end of the day, I don't really care enough to learn what they're going to be there for or where they're going to go to. But because I bought the first 5 issues, I'm sure that I will continue a little bit longer. And these aren't fitting in here for some reason, so I'm going to shove them in, because that always works. There you go. Take that, motherfuckers. So there's that one. And I think maybe last we'll have another peek around here, but Usagi Yojimbo, this one with the Kirishitans, the Christians, basically. So Stan Sakai at the end of this one has a little bit of historical elements as well for the hidden Christians within this time period. Edo time period. I actually don't know, to be honest with you. So this is 10,000 Plums, part 4 of 5, and it's Usagi number 283. It was a good story, because I think what this book kind of does well is talk. There's many stories where they talk almost like this class element. So this is kind of introducing a different class of people at the time, right? Like these religious Christians, these hidden Christians who were on a pilgrimage to see a statue cry because it's going to cure them of whatever ails them. But there's all these checkpoints that they have to go through before they can get anywhere. And again, as we talked about many times on this channel, Free Palestine. And it really feels like this is something that fits in with kind of modern day, what's going on in modern day, certain groups of people having their movement limited. This one, they do let them pass and stuff. So that's the difference here, I guess. But there is that kind of element to it as well, right? But Usagi is always a really, really great book. I always get a kick out of it. I don't know anybody who reads it to ever say that the issue that they just read was horse shit. I don't think that exists out there. There, even the Usagi Yojimbo stories that aren't as good as other ones are still just good comics, you know, in their kind of simplicity of storytelling, the simplicity of, I guess, simplicity of art. I don't know if I'd necessarily say that. There is a bit of a shorthand going on with this art, no doubt, that comes with decades of drawing these characters and creating this universe. But always really good. I'm glad I started picking these up in single issues. Just very rewarding to have a new one, because I just know it's going to be something good to read. I haven't read this yet, but already we're up to issue number 4 of our Adventure Time comic here. Best of Buds, part 4. And again, most importantly for me, we have Derek Ballard in the back of the book with another little 2-pager. And today is the day that I will turn around and I will show you the other Derek Ballard books that I have here, because I did find them after a stream and I put them back where I knew I could find them. Let me just manipulate my ass out of the way here for a minute. Riveting TV. Colin watching me on the big screen. At least you can't see my ass. Fuck me, dude. I swear I put them somewhere that I could get to them really nice and quickly. Here we go. Located. There we go. Crush that. So it was Cartoon Show that his, and I think there was only 2 issues, which was You Will All Die in Pain and Your Daughters Will Bear Our Children. Both were from Drippy Bone Books, and I think I ordered directly from Drippy Bone back when these came out. There was just something about his artwork that appealed to me in a big way. Yeah, so You Will All Die in Pain is issue number 1. Your Daughter Will Bear Our Children was issue number 2. Cartoon Show by Derek Ballard. And I think I had started digging into artists that were associated with Adventure Time, the cartoon. So Derek had done some of the title cards and I think some of the character designs. There was a bunch of other artists that I kind of discovered during that time as well too. But Ballard's stuff always jumped out at me for its sort of not quite blocky isn't necessarily the right word, but there was something kind of angular and sharp about his poses where they were this yes there was this this kind of abstraction to the human form, not quite in the way of Mother and Other Stories and things like that, but there is still this kind of abstraction and sort of like just really Dan Nelson, how's it going, man? This sort of static nature to the characters. I'm having a really big time struggle here, kind of putting the words from my brain out into the atmosphere, but you can probably see for yourself. And I just responded to it immediately. Started following him on social media, which turned out maybe not to be the best thing just because of some of the things that were happening to him at, I guess, that period of time with a relationship he was in. So that kind of stuff is some of the reasons why I don't necessarily dabble in places like Facebook specifically. You end up learning things about people that you didn't really want to know, I guess. So yeah, so there you go. So this is what I've been trying to show you for literally for months now since Adventure Time first came out. You're rewarded. Those of you who tune in on a weekly basis, you're welcome. I think, and like I said, I think that was the only 2 that he did. I don't know if these got kind of collected as well too, or if there was other work. I think he was doing some digital work as well. There may be a 3rd Cartoon Show book out there, but I'm not 100% on that one. So that I think is probably going to be it for this week. I haven't read anything else. No. So a couple of things I'm going to be on this week, though, besides that Adventure Time. Godzilla Heist, the final issue, has come out. I'll probably sit and read that tonight. I found an Aircell book in the $2 bins at 204 that I've never heard of called Underground, a more magazine-sized thing. Photo on the back. I think it has like skinheads and punk rockers in it and stuff. So I'm very intrigued by this one. And of course, it's nice and dirty and grungy itself from whoever owned this before. There was some form of sticker on the front there that left some marks. This is written by Patrick McEwen, layouts by Patrick McEwen, finishes by Patrick McEwen, Rob Clark, and Craig Taillefer. letters and graphics by Shark, Barry Blair, the consulting editor. This is from 1987. There's a little kind of show you a couple pages from the inside. I had a quick kind of flip through it when I got it home. Looks intriguing. Like I said, stuff like this, it's from Aircel. I'm going to give it a try. I didn't know that they did stuff in this format. I thought that everything they did was elves and fantasy and comic book size, basically. So looks pretty good, though. It has a good kind of grungy, gritty, rough look to it, as it should, if you're going to call your book Underground. So I'll dig into that this week. And I think I also dipped into this because I saw the Kevin Eastman cover for Bring on the Bad Guys, Doom. The interior art looked pretty interesting, but honestly, I had, I think, 2 books on my pull list that I was picking up, and I saw the Kevin Eastman cover, and that's honestly what got me to buy it, more than what's inside in it. I really liked that that Doom picture there, or drawing there, so that's why that came home. Right on, everybody. Thanks very much. Next week, we'll probably be around on Monday, but we'll see how things go. Work is picking up and all sorts of other things are going on. So we'll see what happens. And thanks very much, Modit Part, for participating this week live. And Dan Elson, always good to see you, and other folks that were hovering. Nice to see you all. All right, later.